Welcome to WP Theme Tutorial, episode 46. Today we're going to look at our plugin for ICS calendar feeds again. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually take the links, some of the links we built last time, and put them on user profiles so that they're easy to find. Right now you'd have to know what the links are, and that's just not very user friendly. Now, last time we dealt with the query variables and RSS feeds. So we added the author profile link, or the author profile, so that it would actually filter the posts based on an author. And today we're going to add that to our users. So where am I? Right now, I'm in just a base WordPress install, same one I've always been using for this, and I'm on the author role. So I am not signed in as this user. I'm signed in as the admin, as you can see in the top right-hand corner. So I'm on another user's profile. If we go down to the bottom, you can see that we just have our standard WordPress stuff so far. We don't have anything special. To add to the user profiles, we need to use two hooks. So let's jump into our code and grab our two hooks. And we're going to add those into our construct function. Oh, I'm just starting using Chocolate today, so giving it a shot to see what it's like. And obviously not as familiar with the keyboard shortcuts. So our two hooks are show user profile and edit user profile. Show user profile is added or run when I'm viewing my own profile, and edit user profile is when I'm viewing someone else's profile. Now, if we look at WordPress roles and capabilities, only the site admin can see other people's profiles. Users can only see their own profile unless they're an admin. So I'm using two hooks so that as an admin I can see my own, and then as an admin I can also see these links for other users as well. The other users, so say an author or an editor, they would get show user profile. That's the function that would run, and they just see their own. They don't even have an opportunity to see other people's links or other people's profiles. So these two hooks are calling the show links function, which we haven't added yet. So let's add that. And this is our show links function. What is it doing? Well, a lot of this here is just the standard stuff that WordPress expects. It expects an H3 for a heading. It expects our table all laid out, and we have a label there. And then the important part is right here on these two lines. You can see on line 72, I'm generating a link for all posts, and I'm actually calling a special function, which we'll get to in a second. And on line 73, I'm using the user object, which is passed into this show links function by our two hooks, to show them the display name, posts only. So in this case, it would be author role posts only, or whatever you have set your display name to be in WordPress. And your display name is right there, author role. So if I was to add Bob author, and let me just comment these two out, or else we're going to have issues. And then hit save. You can see since I've added a first and last name, my options now are Bob author and Bob author. So I'll update that. So the display name is users can actually change that themselves, which is just fine. So let's undo and save. Now, if we actually were to run that right now, we'd still see an issue, because we don't have our get subscribe link function in here yet. And that's the get subscribe link is really the meat of our function. It's the big one that I want to use here. What I wanted to build with get subscribe link was a function that built our normal link that just shows you all posts. And I wanted to be able to pass some parameters to it. So in our case, you can see I'm passing the author and the user ID of the author. And I wanted to be able to get out of that, or pass any parameters I want, so I can generate any other types of links. The only type of link we have right now is our author link. So let's grab our other function, and we'll paste that function in. And so what this function does is get our feeds for us. What we have passed in is an array. This is our array of arguments. And the first thing we do is actually generate our base link. So our base link is site_URL. And to that, we're going to append the feed location, which is $feed equals WPTT ICS Feeds. That's the feed location we defined. We never type in site URLs. We want to make sure that we're leveraging the WordPress functionality. There's lots of different ways that a person can set up their site, and so that's why we use site URL all the time. Instead of trying to do any fancy figuring it out for ourselves, use site URL for front-end links. The next thing we're going to do is check if our arguments are set and if they're an array. If both of those are true, we're going to start walking through our arguments and see what's up with them. First thing we're going to check, I guess the only thing in this case, because we only have one argument for an author, is to check if the author is set, and if it is, we're going to get user data. We're actually going to make sure this little chunk right here is making sure that we're getting an integer out of there, so it's a safety thing. So what we passed in was the author or the user ID, and we're just double checking to make sure that we have an ID or have the integer. Always want to be extra safe. The next thing we do is we're going to take our link and make it equal to link, and then we're going to append to it, and we append to it the WPTT author query parameter or query variable, and then we pass it the user underscore login, which is the same thing that we want out of it. That is not changeable by the user, so we always want to use that. Finally, we use escape URL, and then or return our link using escape URL. Escape URL just make sure that we have a safe URL. We always want to make sure it's safe. Even in this case, even though the user isn't actually adding text, they're not typing things in, we're not getting random input. In theory, the only input coming through here is what we have typed in as we've been building this plugin. But you still want to be safe. So if we save that and refresh, you can go down to the bottom, and you can see we have our all posts and then our posts by Bob author. And remember, we're showing his display name or the author's display name. So if I was to change the display name again back to author role, you can see it now says author role posts only. That's it. We've added our links to our user profile so that they're easy to find for our users. Thanks for watching.